All right, David, the June jobs number came out, and actually you sent the team a barrage of items related to this. I'm going to deal 3 of them to you and let you work your way through. Just in overall, we've got the June jobs number, which actually was a little higher than estimated, but then you sent a chart on the private sector, and there was actually a net decline in the private sector. And then you sent some information about job cuts in relation to recession. David, please take us through this.
Okay, so we get what's called the ADP report, and it's become less accurate for what we're going to get. So that comes out typically Thursday after the end of the month, right, from the previous month's hiring on private payrolls. And so ADP is the largest payroll provider in the United States. So you used to be able to actually count on that number to give you some relative understanding of what's coming. Well, we have a chart on the screen right now that shows you those private payroll numbers with ADP have been drastically dropping consistently here for a long time now. However, the accuracy between that number and then what gets reported on the first Friday of every month, the government's idea of jobs number, which is done from a survey, all right, was drastically different this time. So yeah, ADP reported only 33,000 private sector jobs, and then the jobs number came out. We were expecting about 110,000. It was 147,000 jobs. Yet the labor participation force, we lost 800,000 people, just vanished out of those numbers. And so unemployment basically looks pretty good down there around 4.1, 4.2.
But the participation rate went down
significantly.
In other words, able-bodied people who could be working,
right?
Just choosing
and so
not to
we've got a
participate.
chart on the board right now from the Federal Reserve that shows you unemployment rate ticking up. And every time, if you look at this chart, that unemployment has grown this fast, this high, a recession has followed, or we were already in one. So again, I've been telling people I believe that we've been in what we call a rolling recession for a while. It's been rolling through manufacturing, et cetera, and then service industry. It's not been called a recession. You have the Federal Reserve who refuses to lower interest rates, yet they keep trying to say we're data dependent. Well, the data would tell you if you cut 50 basis points last September with inflation at 3% because it was heading towards your goal, and inflation has now been below 2.4% for 6 consecutive months, and you won't lower rates, then you are, in fact, being political, right? And so the other odd duck in that payroll number, Chip, is in June. Where do you think you would see job losses naturally take place? Just what sector of the economy comes to mind?
You would think education would be slowing
the end
down
of the
in
school
June,
year.
but the story says no.
But that's the thing, is over half the jobs created in this job report, if it were true, were government and education
It's
jobs.
in that first graphic that we showed, 73,000 of the 147.
Well, the government's not supposed to be hiring. They're supposed to be firing people if those are taking effect, right? And education, you would think jobs would go away. So again, can you trust the survey? I don't know. We've been talking about that for the last 2 years. So it's just not been it's not very rosy when you look at the data. Now, then you can look at leading indicators of where jobs will be in the future. And we're seeing job cuts start to mount, the Challenger jobs report, et cetera. And then when you look at exports and what we're sending out, right, things we're shipping, we had a massive drop in exports unexpectedly this past month. Well, if companies are shipping out less goods and services, what does that tell you about their future, the jobs market, right? So there's just a lot of data here that tells you just be cautious of what might be coming here in the near future. Hey, if you're looking for more content like this, make sure you check out these videos, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll be notified when we publish more content that will help you retire smart. Thanks for watching.